Hey guys, how's it going? Alright, so I've been looking a lot lately at how I work a lot. Now, I'm an extremely hard worker. I work a lot of hours in a week. The way that I motivate myself is really unique. I haven't heard too many people explain the way they motivate themselves the way I do, so I thought this video would help you guys out. With that being said, let's get into the video.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.
Now, the big thing that I do is my habits. I've read a lot of books about building habits, about willpower. Those are my two big subjects that I really study heavily. So firstly, how do you build habits? Now, for me, I had a hard time building habits for a long period of time. I'd have to do a lot of different things, and honestly, it took a lot of trial and error and bumping into like dead ends to try to find my way out. So how do I build habits? Now, the first strategy I use is called habit stacking. This is actually a book that you guys can read. It's called Atomic Habits. It's an amazing book. Go ahead and read it. It's tight. So what I did was I spent an entire week, and I spent that entire week going through my entire days using a notebook, writing down every single habit that I fulfilled in a given day. And by the end of the week, I had a whole bunch of habits built up. So then from there, I started habit stacking them. Habit stacking is where you have a habit become the cue for another habit. So when one habit clicks in, now it's a cue for a great habit to come into play. So what do I mean by this? So one of my habits is in the morning, I shower. Before I get on the camera, I shower. Before I do most things, I'll go out and I'll shower. It's just kind of like, it's kind of my transition for things. So what I'll do is with the shower, I have a sticky note on the mirror and it points to the shower and goes, shower, ? And it goes 10 out of 10 then. And what I mean by that is that when I'm in the shower, whenever I take a shower, I prime myself for the day. So I'm like, okay, you looked at your planner before coming in here. What do you need to do today? And how would the 10 out of 10 version of you handle today? How would the you from 10 years from now handle today? What would he do differently? So now every time I jump in the shower, I think to myself, how would 10 out of 10 be? And now this is starting to become a habit. Now whenever I jump in the shower, I'm like, oh shit. And I start naturally thinking as I'm washing, oh, I'm supposed to do this, I should do this. The future me would probably be like this. This is how we'd handle today. This is how we'd probably handle it a little differently. And because I'm doing this, now I'm a little bit better today than I was yesterday. Now the next two strategies around habits, I haven't read about yet. I don't know if anybody else has written about this, but these are kind of my other strategies for building habits. The first one is if I have a negative habit. Now there's certain negative habits that I really don't like, and they can cue me to do things. And so what do? I learn what those cues are for those negative habits and I avoid them. So for example, I don't like usually working at home. And if I do work at home, I avoid all TVs. I have everything shut off. I make sure they don't have any distractions around me. Better yet, I'll leave the house and I'll go sit at a Starbucks. I completely avoid all the distractions of the house. I'm not around in this bitch. I get the hell out. Because I know that all of my cues here for negative habits are here. So if I leave my house, if I leave my spot and I go somewhere like a Starbucks and I sit down for maybe like 5 hours, I have no distractions, there's nothing around me to cue me to do something negative. Now in the same way, if you guys go to eat something, if you guys go somewhere like, let's say that you eat candy, let's say you have a really bad habit about eating candy. I do too, I have a sweet tooth. So what do? I just don't buy candy. I don't have anything in my house. I don't have chocolate bars, I don't have sweets. I just don't have it around me because I know at some point I'm gonna burn myself up and I won't have any willpower and I'm gonna need to take a break. And when willpower is really low, I make really bad decisions. So when I'm in a higher state, I just don't put anything around me that would cause me to do something negative. All right, and instead, I have a bunch of things that promote positive things. All right, now my next strategy is called habit pairing. Now, as you guys know, I love music. I'm a self-proclaimed music aficionado. So what do? I starve myself of music, of my real big passion. I like listening to music. It gets me in a good mental headspace. And the only time I ever listen to music is when I'm gonna be doing something productive, when I'm hitting the gym, when I'm about to go out and game, and I want to get myself in the right headspace. Maybe before I go and I start working on stuff like this, I plug in my headphones, put them in my ears, start bumping the music, get myself in the headspace, and then I start going. So what I do is I take a positive habit, something that was really fun for me to do, and I pair it with another. And I made sure that the habit wasn't something that would distract me from what I was doing. So if you guys are going to do this, make sure you're doing something that's not going to be like maybe taking a part of your brain off and focusing it somewhere else. Put it on something that's going to make it kind of like relaxed for you. Maybe you have like a massage chair. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you like smoking weed or something. You smoke weed right before you work. Something that will help you with like pairing it up to something positive. Now the positive reinforcement that you're using will actually start carrying over to the other thing you're doing, and you'll start enjoying it the same way you enjoyed the other thing. This stuff might not be applicable to you guys. All right, a lot of these things are very fine-tuned to me. So what I want you guys to do is to mold this to your version of reality and to fit your needs. It needs you to have introspective intelligence. All right, you can't do this without understanding yourself. I am very active about constantly trying to understand myself. I think about my thoughts constantly. Whenever I mess up, I'm like, what was it that made me mess up? Whenever I fuck up on a habit. So one of my bad things that I did with a habit was I was telling myself, every time I'm relaxing and I'm laying down in my bed and about to go to sleep, I do my hour of power. And what I found was that I wasn't doing it. And the reason I wasn't doing it was because I didn't have the cue. I didn't have a specific cue that would tell me to do my habit. So what I do, I had to develop a cue to get my habit started. So what was my cue? I set a time aside that I go to bed every night, and I have an alarm. Every time this alarm plays, it has a very specific sound and a music. And now that's my specific cue to tell me to do this. So I hear that specific music, that certain sound that is playing. I'm like, okay, time to start my hour of power. As opposed to maybe when I'm relaxing. It's a lot better to have, it's a lot more of a specific cue. It'll be a lot easier for me to follow it and actually follow it with a habit. All right, now the next thing is be patient. Okay, whenever you're trying to change yourself or you're trying to change your personality, it takes a long time. Sometimes the progress you make is so minor, it can seem almost negligible or even maybe non-existent. I promise you though, as long as you're thinking critically and you're trying to constantly improve and you're learning about yourself, you're improving. What I want you guys to do is always get back on the horse. Now, most people, whenever they fall off a habit, they start telling themselves, I'll do it next week. Oh, I'm gonna jump back on it at the end of the week. I'm gonna do it this. No, immediately jump back on the horse. The second you realize you're fucking up or you forgot about your habit, jump the fuck back on the horse. Don't wait for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Don't wait till you have more energy. Don't wait till you this. Don't wait till that. There's no excuse. You knock it out now and you fix it. You jump back on that horse. Because most people, what they do is they tell themselves they're gonna jump back on the horse or they fall off. Everybody falls off. You're always gonna fall off a habit. All right, what you gotta realize though is the first 1, 2, 3 times fall off the habit, you just have to get right back on the horse like it's nothing. What I want you guys to do next is reframe the world. Now, you guys take on a version of reality that might not be helpful for you specifically. Maybe you guys are victimizing your situation, telling yourself that the world is against you. That doesn't help you out. Tell yourself instead how that specific thing is gonna be the reason that you fucking succeed. All right, so I've had 2 friends die this month within 2 weeks of each other, and it fucking sucked, and it hurt a lot. Now, I could have victimized my situation. I could have told myself that this is the reason I wasn't gonna succeed. Or maybe this is the reason that the world is against me. Maybe I was meant for the same fate. Maybe I'm gonna die soon. Instead, I told myself that's why I'm going to succeed. My friends dying and this stuff happening and all this crazy fucked up shit happening around me is the reason I'm gonna succeed, because I have more willpower. I have that becomes my engine fuel. Now, because my friends are falling off, now I can look at that and I could be like, how is this going to motivate me? How is this going to like build to this grand vision of myself down the line to where I overcame all the fucking shit and I became a success? You guys have to do the same thing. Never fucking victimize your situation. All right. Never feel like you guys do not have control over your world. Okay. Because you do. The way you view your world is going to dictate the way that you react with it and interact with it. Now let's take it from an outer perspective and bring it into an inner perspective. How do you view yourself? Does the way you view yourself actually help you out? Does it create a vehicle? Are you actually using your self-perception of yourself to help drive you in life? Some of you guys are probably telling yourselves things like, I'm not the kind of guy that works out. I'm not the kind of guy that gets girls. I'm not the kind of guy that's successful, that gets money, that gets this, that gets that. Now that's where you're fucking up. You have to take on a belief of yourself that's actually helpful for you, because the belief drives the habits. Okay, so whoever you think you are, whoever you think you will be, your ego will drive it and will tell you to do things that it will be congruent to this personality you want to take up. Your personality that you think you are, this person you think you are, will help drive your ego to help working with you. So then you'll be like, well, I'm this kind of a person. If I don't do this thing, then I'm not this kind of person, and it destroys your view of yourself. So what your ego will do is it'll be like, you better fucking do it or you're gonna kill yourself. So it's life or death. Do it or you die. And your brain will be like, okay, cool. Well, what does this personality do in this situation? Okay, you're a guy who's good with girls. You go to talk to girls and it's gonna work. Now, if you're a guy who thinks that you're worthy of money, now the same way with girls. So I'm gonna explain this first from the aspect of getting girls, because for me, that's probably obviously my strength. So if I were to take one of you guys out with me and we're gonna go talk to some girls and shit, and I see a gorgeous bombshell type of girl and I point her out to you, if you don't think that you're worthy of her, you're not gonna approach her or even see her. Now, the reason being is because the brain only reacts with attraction and comfort. All right, it only reacts with things of value or threat. So what your brain sees when it sees that 10 out of 10 girl, it sees something that is of zero value because you cannot possibly get her. That kind of girl you've never dated in the past, and you're not the type of person to date that girl. And then number 2 is if you approach, you're gonna get rejected. It's gonna hurt your ego, hurt your self-image. It's gonna fuck you up, and you're gonna have like a ego death, and that's painful. So your brain's like, okay, she doesn't even fucking exist. All right, she has no value. She's nothing but threat if you approach her. So I'm just gonna shut her off to the conscious brain. I'm gonna say she doesn't exist. The same thing happens with success. Now, if you don't think you're worthy of something, it's gonna blind you off to the aspect of it. So what you gotta start doing is change who you think you are. Start visualizing things. Start planning things out. Start taking actions that build confidence within yourself so you can start seeing these kind of things. So you can start seeing opportunities when they come to you. How do I visualize? How do I change my personality? I'm a huge benefactor of visualization. I love it. And it's honestly helped me out so fucking much in my life. Now, this is what I do. Every time I go to bed, or every time I'm about to go to bed, when I'm doing my hour of power, in my hour of power, there's a 15-minute block where I specifically just visualize. I visualize my game, my life, who I want to be from me a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What do I need to know? Who do I need to be? What kind of situation will I be in? How can I overcome maybe negative situations that will come about at certain stages of my life? What would those big things that could happen to me that might knock me off my path be? How can I prepare for them anticipatorily? I don't even know if that's a fucking word. So here's that. Now I might screenshot this and maybe like send it to you guys, show it to you so you guys can read it through yourselves. This is actually like a culmination of me reading through a whole bunch of books that talked about life plans, and I stole each of their ideas from each book, and I built myself like a mega life plan. It's probably like 5 pages long. It's about like 3 or 4 pages. It also has my life mottos on it. And now one of the things I do is I plaster my life mottos everywhere to remind myself to be humble and why the fuck I'm doing this. So I don't fall off my purpose and maybe do this for more selfish reasons, like maybe like boosting myself up or trying to become like the guru figure, as opposed to maybe helping you guys out. So what are my life mottos? First one is to evolve and refine myself till I die. Every day I want to evolve myself. I want to be a different person than I was the day before. Be someone that left more than you took. So I always want to be giving you guys value, and I always want to give more than I take. You are where you are because of what you are doing. If you want more, be more. Now, a lot of you guys are probably in spots and you guys are just assuming that you're going to keep growing. Now, for me, I have about a little over 9,000 subscribers. If I want to get to 20,000 subscribers, I have to be doing something different than I am currently doing. What is that thing I need to do differently? You are doing this to be a different man tomorrow. I want to do this because 10 years from now, who the fuck can I be? Who can I be, and what kind of incredible things can I have done with myself? And now every night I sit down, I go through this and I visualize who is this person so I know it in detail. And then from there, I also build myself a curriculum. If you guys want to build yourselves a curriculum, you're fucking up. So I have on my book here, my current habit stacks, and I have my curriculum. What do I need to learn? I'm currently studying things about addiction, social dynamics, business, marketing, funnels, Photoshop, and Premiere Pro. So how can I do this? I can look on YouTube, I can buy books, and I just need to keep studying this, and I have a certain deadline by the time I need to learn this by. So I keep learning every day. Whenever I have to sit down and I have to learn this, I do that. Now, this is something that's more specific to me, and some of you guys might maybe like read into this and enjoy this. This is something very specific though. What I do is I have all these notebooks. I have like a dozen notebooks that I have all these different pieces of information in, and I've just developed over a period of time. Like one book's for this, one book's for that, and it's just kind of expanded itself as I kind of like started categorizing things in my life a little bit better. The initial act of opening the books and trying to find all the pages takes a little bit of time. It takes me like 5 or 10 minutes to like go through all these books. So what do is I instead leave them all open. I leave them all open and I leave them out, so I don't even have to take them out. So it's like such little effort. So in the morning when I'm like, what do I have to do for the day? I have my planner here, I have this here, I have that there, I have my page open to the student that I'm working with today, I have maybe thoughts that I need to work through, maybe my curriculum, maybe something I plan to do today, maybe I need to pay off a payment, and I have that on a sticky note on my wall. I make it extremely fucking easy for me to start working. I make it as easy as humanly possible. I don't want there being like all this shit, and I'm not going to tell myself I have infinite willpower or I'm the kind of guy that can do this, because I've done trial and error, and I know that that little thing right there, that first little initial thing, that hump of getting my notebooks out, putting them on the desk, that can stop me from working at times. So I don't want it to ever stop me from working again, so I leave them all open. I just leave them out. Always leave them out, and it's never a question. So when you're practicing self-manipulation, what I want you guys to do is to look at what you guys are doing and tell yourself if it's working or not. If I fuck up, and let's say I fall off a habit, I ask myself, why did I fall off the habit? What can I do differently so I don't fall off it again? And how can I maybe like get rid of whatever caused me not to work it? Or maybe if I can even augment it, make it even better. Maybe add like that positive pairing like I was doing before. Can I do something like that to get me to do it? And I ask myself all these questions. You guys need to do the same thing. Be active about the way that you guys look at your habits and yourself. If you guys fall off the horse, why did you fall off the horse? How can you get back on? How can you be like a person of like integrity? All right, guys, that's pretty much all I want to say with this video. If you guys have any questions, leave them below. And with that being said, peace out.
Life ain't promised to a nigga where I come from. Where I come from made me peace. Graduated from the struggle and I made it out the streets. Liberated my mind, now it's time I teach. Life ain't promised to a nigga where I come from. Here to save everybody I can, but you gotta understand that I'm only one man and we ain't no different.